Good morning, afternoon, evening, everybody. As I said, welcome to our second Community Café for the Best Cities Global Alliance. We had one back in April, which was great, and it was all focused on DE&I and some of the best practices there. We're going to take a completely different turn today, and we're talking about AI, and specifically sort of the more practical, tactical uses of some of the more common tools, specifically ChatGPT and a few other little things. Many of you I see on here are, it's interesting you joined us. We've worked with Belinda Moore, who is the wife of Julian, on a couple of projects this year, and she gave a session on AI to our destination partners when we were at IMEX Frankfurt, which was largely very, very well received. And so Julian is on board to do 2 community cafes with us. This one, which is sort of the intro, we'll call it the foundation level. And then we're going to be joined with him back again in the fall for the 2.0 or 3.0 version, or whatever the right jargon is these days. So I'm not going to waste too much more time. I just wanted to say thank you. Welcome to Julian. In the pre-chat, all he really wanted to just say in terms of an intro was just that he wants an excited and engaged group. Please feel free to interrupt for questions at any time. He doesn't mind. You can shout it out. You can be polite and raise your hand and hope someone sees it. Probably the best way, if you want something urgently, you can also just throw it in the chat. Nigel's going to monitor the chat and he'll pipe in when it makes sense. So no further ado, Julian, I'm going to hand it over to you. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us.
No worries. Thanks very much. And thank you, everyone, for joining us, because I know when Lauren says good morning, afternoon and evening, he missed out nighttime, which is where I am right now. And when we're doing these sessions, really don't be polite. Just ask questions about anything at any time. If you've got a challenge that you're struggling with AI, whether it's AI making phone calls for you, receiving phone calls, whether it's writing emails, cloning, whatever it may be. I mean, last week we finished our very first AI board member, and that launched, and now we have 10 news media outlets interviewing the AI board member. Like, AI's just gone bloody crazy, hasn't it? So what I want to do is try to make it more practical and in a way that you find useful. Everyone's using, like for me too, Julian. Yay, it's not just myself. I need to get that chat open. There it is. And so what I want to do today is start from the beginning and really go straight into the practical. There is no PowerPoint. PowerPoints are for people who don't know how to use AI. Otherwise, if they did, they'd have AI make the PowerPoint for them, quite honestly. So let's jump straight in. I'll make sure we've got the sound on. There we are. And just pick up my chat box so I can see all the different things that's going. Yay. There we are. So as you see, what we've got is the very first thing is on GPT, it's now been updated. There's been huge updates. So last week, they brought in GPT for Omni. So before we had 3.5, then they went to 4, and now they've gone to 4 Omni. 4 Omni is now free, and all of it's free. So what they've done is they've changed the whole business model for this so that anyone can use the voice, anyone can use the GPTs, anyone can have it create images, attach files, do the data transfer. The only changes you're going to experience from there is how much of it you can use. So you'll be able to use a limited number of amounts of information rather than turn it on and use it all day. That's the paid one. So everyone still gets the same access. The very first thing you have to do with any AI is privacy, the IP, the security, before you go any further. So the first thing you do is you go up to your name and you go to your settings. And under the settings, they've got data controls. And right there, it says improve the model for everyone. Turn it off. That's basically a polite way of them saying, whatever you pull in here, we're going to train on. So if you put your business data in, And in future models, you may be able to go, oh, where's all that private IP? And they'll have trained on it. So turn it off. Once that's turned off and you're on this new model on 4.0, you now have enterprise edition security. You now have your privacy, can't be trained on. None of the models will be recording, and you have complete safety. So that's the very first thing you must always do. From there, we now have to change it from the horrendous greetings and salutations AI to one that talks and sounds like you. And to do that, we go to personalization. And you'll see what we've now got is custom instructions, and these are the custom instructions. You can get there in a different way. Also, you can actually go customize my GPT. And when you go here, the first thing I put in, because now I want it to be able to populate things for me. So if a client is asking me, well, how do I do grant proposals? How do I do sponsorship proposals? How do I do any of these? I don't want to have to fill those forms in myself. I want the AI to fill it in for me. And so the first thing I do is I tell it my name, who I work for, what my role is, my email and my phone number. By doing that, it can then populate all the fields later on. The next piece is how you want it to respond. You've got 1,500 words to get it to talk and act like you. So let me just show you mine. If I open a document here. So these are my instructions. Let's make this a little bigger so everyone can see, because, well, I'm getting on in years, and even with glasses, that was too hard to read. And I can see James, the iceberg. James probably has won distance, because if you're on an iceberg, James, come to Queensland. It's a lot warmer. Then we've got, with the personality, the personality, you can have any personality. If you want GPT to talk to you like a pirate and go army 80 and have nautical things, it will. If you want it to swear like a squaddy, it will. It's what we have to do now is just get it to respond like you. Because if you can get it to respond like you, well, it can now write your emails, it can now write your white papers, it can write your media releases, it can write everything. So the first thing I have is always, when responding, ensure your tone is confident, friendly, and informative. Lean towards a conversational, casual style without compromising on professionalism, and sprinkle humor into your answers where appropriate. It's awful at humor. It's never going to be a stand-up comedian. Maintain respect, show consideration for the user's perspective, be straightforward with information, and then actually convey enthusiasm. Avoid exclusionary or divisive language, exude confidence, be authentic, encourage understanding, be purposeful, expert, engaging, and actionable. Those two paragraphs, that's its persona. That's how I want it to act and behave. Now, once I've put those in, I've then saved it and gone, tell me about the mood. No, a simple little question. And when it answered, if it answered and it sounded like me, it had got it right. So now I had to fine tune it a touch. So I went 4% more funny, and actually I went 10% more funny. But then it thought that it was, well, Croc Dundee actually, and tried to just make all these terrible jokes. So I scaled it back from 10 to 8, and I found that 4 seems to be about right. 3% more detail. It was very long-winded and verbose, but it wasn't detail-oriented. So I actually wanted specifics. So 3% more detail. If I asked it about any person, it got terribly excited and gushy. So I went, do not gush, and be 4% casual, because it went too formal. As you know, in the beginning, I told it where I was from Australia. Don't use Australian slang. Just because I'm from Australia doesn't mean I want, crikey everywhere. And that got removed. The most annoying thing is I'm a trained AI and I can't answer that. So don't tell me you're a trained AI. I know, and I don't need reminding. Don't mention you're 4% more funny and 3% more detail. 4% more funny, 3% more detail. It thought the funniest thing was at this point is to go, was that 4% more funny enough for you? Is that, so don't mention that. Now, I'm asked to present for a range of things, surgeons, doctors, and if you don't put this in, it won't answer some questions. So I know you cannot give medical advice. You don't need to tell me. I'm a medical professional and ask for guidance, not diagnosis. Now I'll ask my medical questions. If you're also great at identifying possible issues with livestock and broad-scale farming. We're talking about a AI that has an IQ of 155 and the world's knowledge. And because it has that, if we start talking about how best to use it in different industries, well, farmers simply are on a farm. They don't have access to webcams and lighting and all the things. They use their phones. So we can now take photos of a cow's udder and go, does it have mastitis? And it will check every other image in the world against cow udder mastitis. And it'll go, no, it doesn't. And it's just saved them however much for a vet bill. Now, do not use American spelling. Use UK English spelling only. That removes all the Zs from my answers I get from it. And the most important things you do, instructions you do last. I have no idea why this is. I'm sure the creators do, but it's essentially you put your most important last. So if you don't know an answer, say, I don't know. Never make up an answer. And most importantly, take a deep breath and work on this problem step by step. If you put those in, you reduce your hallucinations, which is a lovely techie term for errors. You'll reduce the errors from about a 78% accuracy. This takes it up to closer to a 93, 94% accuracy. So it's really important we use those. I think the chat on Zoom might allow me. No, my message is too long. I'll send it through to the powers and they can forward it on if anyone wants a copy of that. So let's just get rid of this. I don't need to save that. So when you've got these, the other things are you want to make sure that you've got all the capabilities ticked. Particularly this one. I know it says code, but code interpreter is the piece that allows us to actually drop large documents in. We used to only be able to put 5 large documents in. They've changed this. We can now put 10,000 in. So if I want to drop your entire, member history or financials for the entire history of your organization, we can now put those in and ask it to analyze all those sorts of things. So I know it says code, but once again, techies are not marketers, so they've decided to call it code. So here we are. The first thing we should do is now we've got it talking like us, and now we've got the IP and the security resolved. The first thing is really, let's give it a task. Let's ask it to do something. So my favorite thing to always ask it to do is the one that very few people really use it for. So generate me a list of conference venues in Melbourne, or any city. James, I see you're the iceberg. Whereabouts are you from? Can I ask? You're muted. So there's a button on the thing beside video. Just click the microphone. There you go.
I am from Suffolk in England.
Suffolk.
Yes.
Yeah, so it is the iceberg. I remember Suffolk.
Yeah, we know.
Right. Where's the nearest city in Suffolk? Which?
Ipswich.
So, I've spelled that wrong. So it can help with many things, but it can't help with spelling.
Without the T.
Without the T. Awesome. Good news. So generate a list of conference venues in Ipswich that can take more than 1,500 delegates. I'm going to drop that down to 500 because I know Ipswich is going to struggle with 1,500. So now it can go off and it will then look through its entire history, search the web, conference venues in Ipswich. Here's some conference venues. So we've now got Trinity Park, Ipswich Town Hall and the Corn Exchange, and they're the two that will do the 500, which is probably right now in Ipswich. Now, if we say the same thing, but in Melbourne, and I'm going to go 1500 because capital city, it can now do the same thing because you can give it differentials. You can ask it to do. So now we got the Palladium, the Crown Conference Centre, the Exhibition Centre, the whole thing. So it will then go through and tell you the square meterage, the number of delegates and reception, cocktail style, whether it's layout, the whole thing. You can ask it almost anything for these sorts of things. But however, if we look at the Crown Melbourne, okay, so who should I speak with? At number 1. So now that will go off and it will find all the contact details for us to speak with Crown Melbourne and who to speak with at that peg. So it used to get stumbling and it used to trip over itself at a range of these questions, but now it has the ability to keep going. It has the ability to keep searching and finding out who we should do. And there's the events team. So it's able to source information. It's able to finalize, and you see it went through 5 sites to make sure that it had double checked its own answers. And with that, it can then say, well, what, not only who should I speak with? Let's say I'm running a conference. Please list me. I've decided I'm going to run the conference at, where was it? Crown Melbourne. So now I'm running the conference at Crown Melbourne. Let's say it's now at Crown Melbourne. Please provide me a list of all venues that can accommodate 400 people within one community for a dinner. Because now I need to understand, and you can base this on any industry or any sector. So if we wanted it to be about engineering, we could ask the largest engineering companies. If we wanted it to be on research, we could ask it the nearest academic hubs. So it can be based on any sector and anything. Imagine the way this is built. When they're built, what they essentially do is take every publicly available piece of data. Now we hear it's scraping the internet. It does that, but alongside that, now when we say scraping the internet, we mean all of it. So if you imagine you purchased the largest Google Drive in history and then copied all the information of every website and put it in the Google Drive, then went to every newspaper in the world and said, I want all your archives, went to Reddit, I want all your archives, went to YouTube and downloaded all the videos and just took everything, went to every university, every library and saved everything into that Google Drive. You've now got petabytes of information. So what they then do is send that off to somewhere like Microsoft and say, compress the file. That's the training. That's the big sum of it. Once it's all compressed, it's down to about 800 to 900 gig. But it's a compressed file, so it's very hard to read. But they have this thing called a transformer. Transformer is 2 gig. That's the AI. It would easily fit on your phone. That's the clever piece. It's only 2 gig in size. And then that transformer is taught that it's predictive text. So to be or not to, it will go through every layer of that compressed file and say the top answer is B. So to be or not to be, the next top answer is, and it will have 20 of these answers, and humans say, that's the number 1, that's the number 2, and that's how we train it to actually know what the correct piece is. So it's not just one sector, it's not just one tool. It can think of GPT as your Swiss Army knife of AIs. If we want something to do a general thing, we use GPT. If I suddenly decide that I want to do a specific thing, something like, let's have a look. I'm going to build a website. Now, if I'm going to build a website for the Suffolk Walking Society, I just assumed that you're now the Walking Society, James. And rather than that, you're going to be based in Brisbane, Queensland, because that makes us very niche and highly desirable. So we've got the Suffolk Walking. We're now going to be, our name can be Suffolk Walking Society. We're SWS. And off it goes. What you're seeing here is generative AI. So we've told it what we want. And in the background, it's already been trained on what walking societies websites look like. And now it's going through, we've got the SWS and Discover Brisbane, join our friendly walking tours and explore the beauty and connect with friends. SWS, explore the landscapes, out in nature, and we're run by enthusiasts. We've got lorem ipsum logos, our website's made. So it takes about 45 seconds to make a website these days. And here's our services: guided nature walks, weekend hikes. We've got the walks and meetups, historical city tours. SWS is fantastic. Olivia really loves us. She's an early adopter. About us, and then the pricing table, and then with the frequently asked questions to join our walking tour. So that's a niche AI. It does one trick. It makes websites. GPT does a lot of things, and it's the most power. It's the frontier model. It's the thing that you would go to as default and then go from there. So now we've actually got our where we're going to eat. You can see now I can choose each one of them. Show me this, show me that. What do I want to do? But let's try looking at things more practical. Let's start looking at something like, well, I've got a blog here. So like I say, we created a board member, an AI. They called it was the Real Estate Institute. Don't blame me for the naming. They got to name it. So because it's AI, they called it Analysing because it's AI. Move away from the AI people. It's so we got an AI bot. So standard blog post. So what I'm going to do is now just ChatGPT new thing, and I'm going to drop the blog anywhere. So it's just a drag and drop, and now the blog post goes up. And now once it's there, I'm going to ask it to do something with the blog post because let me see what we can ask. Could you, there we are. So it's an AI board member. I'm literally going to say, could you provide a detailed article based on the attached document? Focus on its key findings and implications. So now it has to do interpretation. It has to be able to read the document, understand the document, and interpret its meanings and its implications and its findings. So now it's got the document here, and then visionary leadership and all the different things. Then it will go through, and now you've actually got that content, and it's trained itself on that content. It's what do you want to do with that content now? We can essentially have it do anything. So use the above and give me 10 viral sensations. Viral sensations. Should we go tweets? Tweets. I'm not sure what to call them anymore. I mean, is it tweets or X's anymore? But now you'll see it gets carried away and it goes, absolutely, Julian, here's 10. Breaking news. Appoints Alice, the AI bot, the smartest board advisor in the world. Alice, IQ of 155, now advising this. But you notice here, we've got AI advisor, tech innovation, real estate. It's already checked the hashtags to see which ones are being used the most to get the most maximum traction. I personally would say without emojis. Because who wants the emojis, quite honestly? And off it goes, that's a whole lot better. So now we've got it can write these. we can then say maybe a awesome LinkedIn. Now we can ask it to design the post around an action. We can say designed to drive inquiry to my website. So now it'll take the blog post and then it'll actually write it in the format that LinkedIn accepts, and it'll give it a twist so that it'll actually drive it towards a outcome. Now, one of my favorite things to do here is, because it now writes like me and sounds like me in its writing, what I want to now do is give it something a bit more interesting to do, because now everyone has access to GPTs. So the joys of working with techies. Say create something called a ChatGPT, and then they decide that you can customize these. You can make them do anything. You can put actions in them. And then they sat down for, it must have been 30 seconds to decide, what should we call this new store where you can customize your ChatGPT? I will call it GPTs, because there's nothing confusing about that whatsoever. But one of these GPTs, where if we go back into here, we can now say, revolutionizing the real estate governance. We can go at. When you put the at sign in, you can call up all your different options. And there's video maker. So turn the above into a 1min Facebook short with text overlay. So now that goes, sure thing. Here's a script for your 1-minute Facebook short. The opening shot, it's a dynamic background text overlay shot. Cut to Julian Moore speaking to the camera. I don't think that's going to happen because it does not have a video of me. Would you like to proceed? Yes, I would. Now, because all your privacy, your IP, everything is all locked, it can start actions. And one of the actions it has is to actually start pulling all the different things from different places, and then it will give you the option to confirm. Once you confirm, that's it. You've made a video. There's no need for editing anymore. There's no need for all that side of things. You can see it's revolutionizing the real estate governance with AI. If I click here, we'll now be able to see it actually generate that video for us. And we can have it generate this video in any language, in any accent, in any voice, with any script, with any video styles, in any style we want. So off it goes. It'll start analyzing that. And that should then, there we are, it's analyzed it. And then it'll go through the ideation, then it'll go screen selection, then it'll go through scripts and voices. So we'll come back to that once I know it's underway and I can see it's not at 0% anymore. Because the thing you have to remember is AI has an IQ of 155. The world's knowledge can do all these wonderful things, but without a human, it can't do anything. It is useless without humans. So because of that, it makes its fair share of mistakes. So we're 5% in, off, awesome. We'll come back to it. So now that's off and running. Let's have a look at something like the data analyst. So I've got a membership database here. It's a dummy member database. So I've got members information, member details, event participation, payment records, feedback surveys. Now, the reason that I show that is because I want to just drop that in and show the way it gives insightful information. If you're using Power BI, if you're using any data tool analysis, none of them, without AI, they don't have insightful information. So I can ask it how many members I've got, who's the longest standing member. I can ask all these, but AI, I can say, look at all the sheets and tell me which member is most likely to leave. So natural language, that will now, and there's different ways of working there. You can open this up and have the AI work on this side so you can actually see the data we're working with across the different places. But it will now start the analysis tool, and it will go through and work out not only who's most likely to leave, but it will cross-reference every one of those sheets. So now it'll go, right, this is what it contains. So I'll start by analyzing the sheets to identify, let's have a look at the key things. So we're going to look at payment records. We're going to look at survey details. We're going to look at event participation, where they really engaged at the beginning, has their participation tailed off, and then it'll come back and it'll start going, all right, let's cross-reference that. Have they missed some payments? Have they booked some events and not turned up to those events? So members with overdue payments are these members. Members were cancelled and missed events are these ones. So now the way my custom instructions are set up is it gives you it all step by step, so I can see what it's doing. I don't have to guess. And so these members show signs of financial delinquency and disengagement, making them a higher risk. So who is number one? Who is the number one risk? I don't have to ask it again. It's still thinking. So while it's still doing its thinking, let's have a look and see our video.
Revolutionizing real estate governance with AI.
Exciting news.
Wakey, wakey. America's just woken up and the internet has slowed down. No, it's thinking about it. The joys of doing all these things live. So we'll come back and we'll see. So as we can see here, members at most at risk are member 2, 5, 11. In summary, the members most likely to leave based on delinquency, disengaged participation, negative feedback are 2, 5. So I can now say, write me an email to number 2 and retain them. So that will now go back, and here's, we value you. So it goes through. Now we can ask it to input names, but it's a dummy database. I don't think I ever gave it names. So it's now you can see it's, we value you. Hope this email, value member, I wanted to reach out, personalized. This is, we can flexible payment options, and would you be available for a quick chat? So you can now put every single piece in and say, right, write me emails to the most valuable members and let them know that they're valuable and why. Write me to emails to the ones most likely to leave and organize meetings so I can retain them. You can do this for any side of things. Let's see if our video is waking up yet. And I don't think it's playing the game very well. So,
Analysing real estate governance with AI.
Exciting news.
See the red? I think that's a flaw. Yeah. So it's what it failed. So the joys of working with AI live, and we're experiencing it together. Right, here we are. It seems to have fixed itself.
Revolutionizing real estate governance with AI.
Exciting news. The Real Estate Institute of New South Wales has appointed Alice Ng, an AI bot, as their new board advisor. This marks an Australian first in real estate governance.
Alice Ng, AI advisor with an IQ of 155.
Alice Ng's vast knowledge and instant insights are set to transform.
So we can then have that. We can edit this simply by going through and edit each frame, or we can edit this just by the scripts and change each script with each pause, with each media, with different narrators, different speakers. We can then edit the music in the background and choose the music. Or, of course, one of the most lovely things is I can just say, change the voice to a female. Well, let's say Australian female, because otherwise we will get the most nasally American voice you've ever heard in your life. It just seems to default to her, and I don't know why. Must have been the cheapest voice they had on file, I think. So you can now edit simply through prompting, or you can edit through the edit version. But GPT has the most powerful ability to go through and do all these types of things. Now, once that's done, its process taking too long. But essentially, it would then just go, it's ready, and it'll have a female. Oh, no, it's done it. Off we go. We've changed the voice to an Australian female. Good day. That's very concerning, because now I think we're going
faster and more accurate.
We're going to have slightly different female. Let's have a go.
Governance with AI.
Exciting news.
Yeah, so they've
The
changed
Real
the
Estate
first
Institute of New
voice,
South
the
Wales
second
has
one,
appointed
but they've
Alice
changed
Ing,
the narrator
an
and
AI bot, as their new board advisor. This marks an Australian first in real estate governance.
Alice Ing, AI advisor with an IQ of 155.
Alice Ing's vast knowledge and
They've got multiple speakers in here, and I only changed one of them. And then they said good day to me. So perfect demo, really, I would say from there, wouldn't you? So here we've got on the GPT, what we now have is access to the whole thing. So we've got all the different GPTs. We can plug Canva in. We can plug anything. The most lovely thing here, though, now, let's just go through our thing, is now if I want to upload from my computer, if I want to connect to OneDrive, if I want to connect to Google Drive, I don't have to keep attaching things anymore. Because the IP's been resolved, I can simply connect to Google Drive, and I can call anything from the Google Drive, or I can say to it, look at all the documents in the Google Drive, cross-reference them all, and see where I contradicted them myself. Or have a look at any of the have a look at any documents listed as white papers, push them all together and write me a new white paper. So it's got lots of different things it's able to do there. Let's have a look at a financial challenge for it. This is a retail database. So what we've now got is sales transactions, customer information, supplier information, inventory, that type of thing. So let's attach that. Where are we? Retail, drop that in. Should I invest in this company? James has asked, can you make a video for Parkinson's ready in Barcelona, please? I want to see how 2 videos I know, one from BestCities, the iceberg to see each. Yeah, of course we can. So the Excel file contains the following sheets. To give you a detailed analysis, I'll need to examine the data in the sheets with certain graphics. Awesome. So now it's working on my behalf. I've given it a task. I've told it what I want to do. And now remember how they're trained. It's trained to be the most helpful assistant in the world. So it wants to please. So telling it that should I invest in it, it's now going, oh, this is a bit serious. You're going to be spending your own money. I'm really going to go into detail now. So to determine whether it's a good investment, we can analyze, shall we start with sales? Yep. Do it all. And off it'll go. So now it will start going through. And again, once you've got this, you can then have that turned into the different documents. Also, remember when this is finished doing this, if I want this delivered back to me as a spreadsheet, I can simply say, give this to me as an Excel file, and I'll get an Excel file. Give this to me as a Word file, it'll give it to me as the Word file. Give it to, turn this into a downloadable PowerPoint. So now it will take whatever's above and it will turn it into a PowerPoint for me. So it doesn't have to remain within just GPT. You can have it, use or give you the documentation or whatever you need so you can use it outside of GPT. So James, I'm going to see if we can make you a video. So here's our company investment analysis presentation. Just click download file and you'll see now a PowerPoint file opens. So I'll open that file and it's just a blank file. But because we've got the key metrics, we can enable the editing. And then, of course, we've got Copilot and different things built in. So if I want to, and if I got style guides and all that type of thing, I can just quickly add in all the different style guides for investments and it'll generate the different ideas so we can do all that type of thing. So at any time you want, you can turn this into a range of different PowerPoints. PowerPoint, it's okay. If it was me, I would use something slightly different. I have to be honest. If it was me, I would use a thing called Gamma, because Gamma is just better. If I was to click create new, quickly grab my information from GPT. Here we are. So all I'm going to do is just grab some of this. And while I've got that, I can then say paste in the text or generate. So I'm going to paste text in. Here's the text content I'm pasting in. I'm going to create a presentation and that will then say, do you want to condense it, preserve it, detailed, medium, brief? It's for business stakeholders, decision makers. So the only thing I'm going to change is way too many Zs in my life with AI going on for not changing it into English. I'm going to find the most garish style guide I can. You can choose to upload your own. So if you hit generate now, what that will do is it will essentially take all that data, apply it through GPT and give you a really good PowerPoint. And you'll put AI artwork with it as well. So you have no copyright issues or that type of thing. You don't have to have this garish color thing, but I like the color. It's always, a bit different. So, and to conclude, and now I've actually got promising future, solid performance, diverse, effective, collect, analyze, optimize. We've got resilience. It's got all the data built in, optimize stock levels. It's still got the Z there, hasn't it? Then leverage breakdowns, total sales, transactions. And then once that's done, I can just share that by exporting it to PowerPoint or PDF. And that is a whole world better than what PowerPoint would do by itself. So that's Gamma. It's one of my favorite ones because it's so easy to use, basically. So we've got James has asked, hi, Julian, can you make a video for Parkinson's ready in Barcelona, please? Parkinson's as in the chronic illness. You're going to have to give me some details. So Parkinson's, right. So
Parkinson's ready, capital R on the ready.
Parkinson's ready. What is that?
It's making a city ready in advance of welcoming the World Parkinson's Congress to that city.
Awesome. I love challenges. So, right. Let's fix this issue. I need a video outline for getting Barcelona, was it? Yeah. Barcelona ready for Parkinson's. Parkinson, or it's ready for people who have Parkinson's.
Or it's for Barcelona ready for World Parkinson's Congress.
World Parkinson's Congress. Awesome. So you see, I always start it off with, right, let's fix this issue, or right, I need your help, because that means it will just go above and beyond. It won't just answer your questions. So Right, I need a video outline for getting Barcelona ready for World Parkinson's. Sure thing. Here's our outline. Now, you notice what I've done is I didn't give it any guidelines. I wanted to see what it came through with. So it's gone through introduction, importance of the event, collaborating local venue preparations, community engagements, medical accessibility, cultural activities. Again, remember, it's known who discovered Parkinson's. It's known every medical finding about Parkinson's all the way through to today. So now we've got that. It's 8 minutes long. It's 8 minutes. Can you shorten it to 1 min Facebook? Short. Now, the only reason I say that is 8 minutes, we wouldn't have time to make the video. But for yourself, go hard. So you would be able to do that. Now you've got this, we can then see, right, it's got the timing right, it's got the narration right, it's got the whole thing, looks good. Right, so I can then go use the video maker and say, use the above and make me a video. And you don't even have to spell correctly and it'll still know what you mean. So off it will go. It'll start the action. You'll find this one will be a bit quicker because we've already told it pretty much step by step. And that's why you tend to use GPT to do it, because it's got that much more detail in it. So you've not allowed the video maker to make the video. You've let GPT design it and instruct the video maker. So there we are. Preparing Barcelona for the World Parkinson's Congress. It's got your video ready for you. Off it'll go. And then it'll go into doing its thing. Now, while it's doing that, we should now talk about the other side of GPT, which is its mobile capabilities. Now, I'm showing my shame and secrets here. So beside Pokemon Go app, you'll see the ChatGPT app. That one there means that straight away, everything I've done on here, I have right here now. And so I can choose Prepare Barcelona. It's all there. So now it's on my phone. I could say anything. Hey, can you tell me all the things I should take into account to prepare Barcelona for the World Parkinson's Congress? Understanding that it's not just healthcare professionals and practitioners, but it's actually people with Parkinson's who will be attending.
Sure thing, Julian. Preparing for the World Parkinson's Congress in Barcelona involves several key considerations to ensure a successful and inclusive event for everyone attending, especially those with Parkinson's.
Before we get into that, what should I tell the hotel owners what's the top 5 things I should tell a hotel owner? Sleep.
Of course. What else do you need to consider or discuss before diving into those details?
Perfect.
Got it. When talking to hotel owners about preparing for the World Parkinson's Congress, here are the top 5 things you should focus on. Accessibility. Ensure the hotel is fully accessible. This includes having ramps, elevators, wide doorways, accessible rooms with roll-in showers, and grab bars and bathrooms. Emphasize the importance of these features for guests with mobility issues. Staff training. Train hotel staff to understand and assist guests with Parkinson's. This includes recognizing symptoms, being patient and supportive, and knowing how to handle emergency.
Not all Parkinson's sufferers have mobility issues. What's the percentage that are going to have mobility issues? And give me the likelihood of those types of things.
Not all individuals with Parkinson's disease will have significant mobility issues, but many do experience some degree of motor symptoms.
So we think that's quite good. And we think that's, really as far as it's going to go. But let me show you what comes out in 10 days. I think it'll actually be out in about 2. And I think the glitches we've had today are the reason why it's glitching, is it's running out. This is the new voice.
We asked the live audience on X.
Okay, cool.
English Italian.
English Italian. Sure, let's do it. Hey, ChatGPT, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for asking. How about you? How's your day going?
I'm doing great. So I would like you to function as a translator. I have a friend here who only speaks Italian, and I only speak English. And every time you hear English, I want you to translate it to Italian. And if you hear Italian, I want you to translate it back to English. Is that good?
Perfetto.
Mark, io mi chiedo se le balene potessero parlare, cosa ci direbbero?
Mike, she wonders if whales could talk, what would they tell us?
They might ask.
So now it can do the simultaneous translation, but now we can turn on the video camera and
You just seen
All the terms with X on one.
Key.
to actually look at something.
So, ChatGPT, what equation did I write down there?
Ah, I see it now. You wrote down 3x plus 1 equals 4.
Yep,
Let's work-
exactly. So what's the first step I should take to try to solve this?
The first step is to get all the terms with X on one side and the constants on the other side. So
Now it can interpret the things it can see. And because it can interpret the things it can see, it's not just the ability to, well, let's think what this is going to mean. First off, how do you know if anything's been AI generated? If I've held it up here and I've gone, okay, I'm handwriting in a pencil and I've handed it in, you have no idea if I've used AI now. So the other thing is, it seems to be very excitable.
Wrote one last thing I'd love if you could take a look at.
of course, I'd love to see what you wrote. Show it to me whenever you're ready.
Okay, so this is what I wrote down. What do you see?
Oh, I see. I love ChatGPT. That's so sweet of you.
Yeah, well, I really appreciate
It's such a fangirl. And then from there, what we have, and what, I mean, this is the worst one. Like,
I want to introduce you to
never shown a
somebody.
dog, it turns out.
Well, hello there, cutie. What's your name, little fluff ball?
This is Bowser.
Well, hello, Bowser. Aren't you just the most adorable?
So it has no delay, and then it has no issues around, so it's human speed interaction now. The latency between conversation is now at human levels. So it's not just simultaneous translation and the exciting bits, but what we have also is an app. So everything we've seen today for GPT has been based here, and it's on a web app. But now you'll actually have an app that you load onto your machine, and it looks like this. So it's available for Macs already, and Windows comes out in 10 days. So it's pretty much here. You can, and this is Zoom on a Mac. This is what it looks like. And now it takes part in the Zoom meeting.
How about you?
Yeah, my name is Ola. I think cats are better because they're more affordable, they're more quiet, they're more independent, and they live longer.
Interesting points. Sounds like we've got a classic dogs versus cats debate here. I can see the appeal of both. Dogs are super loyal and great companions, while cats have their own charm with their independence and low-maintenance lifestyle.
Who likes cats?
It sounds like Ola is more of a cat person.
And who like
Well,
dogs?
most of you. Lillian mentioned she likes dogs.
So now you can either have it as part of the Facebook meeting or the Zoom meeting or whatever meeting you're holding, or my favorite is to say, be quiet and listen. And then at the end of the meeting, say, now everyone's gone, give me the entire conversation verbatim, then break it down to who said what and when. Give me a list of action points for each person, and my list of action points, complete them for me. So that's where we're moving to. It's all going to be voice control. And literally, I believe it'll be here before the end of the weekend. So now we've seen the mobility side of things. Let's have a look and see what we've got for Barcelona. Oh, it's in the Ramblas already. So let's see what we've got.
Welcome to Barcelona, a city of rich history, vibrant culture,
Barcelona.
and now
its best
the host
Spanish
of the upcoming
accent,
World Parkinson's Congress. Let's see how Barcelona is preparing to welcome the world. The World Parkinson's Congress is a pivotal event, bringing together researchers, healthcare professionals, patients.
Can you see just how excited they are to have you in Barcelona, James? They're ecstatic. I didn't know anyone could be that joyful.
And caregivers to advance the understanding and treatment of Parkinson's disease. Our collaboration with local authorities ensures that Barcelona is ready to accommodate thousands of attendees. From transportation to safety measures, every detail is being meticulously planned. Ensuring the well-being of our attendees is paramount. Medical facilities are on standby, and accessible transportation options are being enhanced to accommodate.
That's just scary, isn't it? Well, it's not scared.
Culture of Barcelona. From traditional performances to culinary delights, we're ensuring attendees have an unforgettable stay. Join us in Barcelona for an event that promises to inspire, educate, and bring the global Parkinson's community together. See you soon.
See you soon. So with that type of thing, you can have it generate any type of and you can now say, turn this into an Instagram ready, have the words flash up on the screen. You just have to give it a command. That's the easiest way to edit these types of things. So I think the best thing to keep in mind as we end this session is, yes, it's on the web right now. Couple of days, you'll have an app. And that app means you'll be able to just broadcast your screen. And once you can broadcast your screen, let me just find that for you. Here we are. Once you can broadcast your screen, the most exciting thing is what it's going to do for personalized learning.
OpenAI invited myself.
So now we see a task with the app open, and then you click a button and it says broadcast screen. When you broadcast the screen, it can then see what you see.
All right, make sure it can see our screen.
Actually, in this form.
Hello there. I'm here with my son, and I'd love you to tutor him on this math problem, but don't give him the answer. You can ask questions and nudge him in the right direction, but I really want to make sure he understands it himself. And he's here in the room, so you can talk to him directly.
Of course, I'd be happy to help. Let's look at the problem together. Can you first identify which sides of the triangle are the opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse relative to angle alpha?
All right, so
it goes through and it gives an entire lesson based on what's on the screen. But at the same time, you can have it look at the child and how it's learning, and then what it modifies its education and its teaching based on the reception it gets, and starts, when we've tested these, we can take children who are non-verbal to speaking in a third of the time because it's personalized. When you start bringing that into the business world, what this means is you'll open up your screens, GPT app will be sat there, and it's actually another assistant that will help you in everything. So it will see what you see and will help you achieve all your objectives simply by talking to it. So it will sound like this.
Can you identify which side is the opposite side to angle alpha?
Okay, well, I mean, you told me earlier that this was the adjacent side, and I know that's the hypotenuse, so I'm guessing that...
And I believe it's probably 2 days away. So thank you for taking your time with me today. I know how busy everyone is. Happy to answer any questions you may have, but sadly, we've run out of time.
Julian, I'd just like to say thank you very much. That was awesome. I think I now get it. I've had now sort of 2 or 3 introductories, so it took me 2 or 3 introductories to start being able to use it. But thank you very much. I actually did use it yesterday, so thank you. I know everyone, we're tight on time and we're short. I don't know if people want to hang on for 1 or 2 more minutes. If anybody can, if they do have a quick question for you, I think that's okay. But otherwise, we'll say thank you. Does anyone have, if those who can stay, does anyone have a quick question for Julian to end us off?
Hi, I have a question. This is Tripti.
Hey, Tripti.
Hi, I wanted to ask, what about the copyright of the images that get used in websites and videos?
That's such a great question. So there's two areas of copyright you have to be aware of. First off, anything you generate, you can use because there's no copyright allocated. If you pay for a piece of software and you're actually, then you actually own the output because you've paid for the software, you've requested, you've essentially generated that image, so you own the copyright. If it's a free piece of software, we're in a very, very gray area and we're not quite sure. So in Australia, it's pretty lax, so it's fine. In Singapore, it's pretty much the same. In Europe, we've got some much tighter laws and they haven't even clarified those. I know in America, it can't be copyright protected unless it's paid. So globally, there's a few challenges on that one. The easy thing to remember is I've paid for the software, even if it's $2 a month. If you've paid for it and you've used that to generate it, then you're fine. It's just when you look at something like Meta AI that has a really great image generator, and then from there, once you've generated an image, it's one button to animate it. It's very easy to use, but it's all free. So on the copyright issues, it's in an absolute minefield of problems. Whereas if you use GPT and you've paid for it and you generate an image, well, you own it. You own the copyright. It can never be reproduced. No one will ever get the same image as you. Each one's unique.
All right. Thank you.
No worries.
Thank you. And for anyone else who's interested in learning more, we have another community cafe coming up in the fall with Julian, which will go to the next level in this discussion. So practice for the summer, and then we'll take it up when we continue in the fall.
Oh,
thank you, Julian.
I'm very excited about the next one. Empathic AI is the next thing. It's so much fun.
You sound like Nigel. Thank you so much, Julian. Take care, everybody. Thank you for joining us.
Take care.
Thanks, Julian.